Speed round, Paul or John?
Early Paul, late John.
Mario or Sonic?
Early Sonic, late Mario.
Introspection or communication? May.
Sorry, I'm thinking about it.
So that's introspection. Sushi or Soylent?
Sushi.
Ever owned a Velcro wallet?
Yes.
Velcro shoes?
Yes.
Velcro pants?
Yes.
What was the name of the receptionist who checked you in this morning?
Linda.
Joan Baez or Joan Crawford?
Joan Didion.
GIF or GIF?
I'm not answering that. There's too much at stake.
Would you like to go out with me?
It's very inappropriate.
Good. Quality or convenience?
Not mutually exclusive.
Needs of the society or needs of the individual?
Should be the same.
You're most scared of?
Unfulfilled potential.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good. Sam?
No. The greater good.
Oh, okay. You just say no.
Yes, it did. No, sorry. I was watching a funny Lord of the Rings video all of a sudden. I don't know why.
Okay.
I totally lost track of what I was doing.
Oh,
Hello, folks. I'm doing a podcast.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Tonight's show is, what is this? This is episode 201, the much delayed, but only a few days, episode.
Sorry.
No, it's not. No, people, we have lives, things happen. No worries. This is episode 201, the first of the second millennium or something. Not millennium, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Century mark, yeah. Tonight we're talking about The Circle, which is the Amazon movie.
Amazon, not Netflix.
Not Netflix, with Tom Hanks and Watson. What's her name? Emma Watson.
Benjamin.
Benjamin Watson, the football player.
Yeah. I tell you, and by the way, folks, I think I'm going to have to add the Netflix The Circle to our list just to make you go through what I had to go through. also these stupid things done. So just so you know.
Okay, I'm actually okay with that. It would actually be kind of funny because we almost had back early in the show when we had an episode situation where one person thought we were doing paycheck and we were doing payback. And we were doing paycheck the next week. And so we started talking about Mel Gibson in this movie and it's revenge. And they're like, I thought Ben Affleck was in this movie. And we're like, no, you watched Paycheck, not Payback. So anyway.
Well, you and I went back and forth for quite some time about how ambiguous the ending was. And I was like, yeah, that's right. You know, when you got 100 people in a room and they kill off somebody every minute, you know, and you're like, what?
Right. Because I said something like, oh, I can't believe Emma Watson believes this stuff. And you're like, Emma Watson's not in this movie. And I said, yeah, her and Tom Hanks. And you're like, not the same movie. So, so I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew, also ingested a microchip for his job, Jemison.
Yep.
I don't know why that makes me laugh. Every time you've been doing that for 100 episodes, and I still makes me laugh. Corny, of all of the wrong of this movie, the tech wasn't one Logan.
Yep.
All right. And Sam, that's a new meaning to the phrase drone strike vector.
Oh man. Because I was going to say that I was going to drive you off a bridge tonight, but kind of steals my thunder a bit.
That was the only death in the movie. God. So
Jeez. Well, I could have said, I'll leave you in San Francisco Bay without a kayak. I could do that as well.
Yeah, because there's sharks there, right? Because that picture that we saw with the shark eating a helicopter, that was real, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, this is The Circle. It came out, I think, fairly recently. I can't remember.
Did it? Was it ever released?
Yeah, it was in theaters. I remember seeing.
Really? Are you sure?
Yes.
I doubt it.
Tom Hanks in the Emma Watson movie is not going to go straight to video. This was in theaters, and if you're still not 100% sure which one we're talking about, Andrew is here to enlighten us.
A woman lands a dream job at a powerful tech company called the Circle Jerk, only to uncover an agenda that will affect the lives of all humanity.
I don't think the Circle Jerk is accurate, but maybe.
Did I watch the wrong movie?
Maybe.
Oh.
That's okay.
I wondered why you had me go to that website instead of a...
Hey, I had to go behind the curtain.
Oh.
That's kind of creepy.
Behind the curtain. No, back when like Blockbuster had the curtain room with the stuff that you'd want. So I just clicked on the director of this. By the way, his name is James Ponsoldt. He's from Georgia, but that's an interesting name. Ponsoldt. He sold the pond. I've never heard of any of his things that he's done.
Oh dear.
He did The Circle. He did something called The End of the Tour. Never heard of it. The Spectacular Now.
Never heard of that.
Never heard of it. Let's see. He did something called Smashed. I don't know if is that the. It's got Mary Elizabeth Winstead in the Nick Offerman is in it. Megan Mullally, Octavia Spencer.
There you go, Corny.
Mackenzie Davis. There's a lot of people in this.
I reckon.
But I've never heard of it. So
Rick and Morty are in that. Yeah.
right. So anyway, and then something called Off the Black and a couple of shorts, and that's it. I thought once you go black, you can't go back. Isn't that what they say? Maybe. Anyway.
That's racist.
Oh.
Inaccurate.
Is that? but what's his name said? Always bet on black, right?
Who?
Wesley Snipes said that.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Passenger 51.
57.
Oh, there you go.
Have you not seen that movie, Sam?
Passenger 51?
57.
57.
57. Heinz sauce.
Which one was it where the main action guy dies in the first 5 minutes?
That's Executive Decision, and that was Steven Seagal.
Is that the same kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same concept. It's hijackers on a plane.
Okay.
We had a bunch of those movies until 9/11 happened, and then they all stopped. For good reason.
It's like, let's not mess with planes for a while.
Anyway, The Circle, 2017's The Circle. It cost $19 million to make, and they made $20 million. So I guess it wasn't a loss. It didn't do very well critically, I remember hearing. It's parked at a 5.3 on IMDb. Metascore at 43.
Seems a lot.
And I wouldn't argue that. But I remember this thinking, when I saw the previews for this, I thought, ooh, okay, we're going to get corporate espionage kind of a thing. And we'll talk about what actually happened on screen in a little bit. But first, this was all of our first viewings for this movie, correct? Obviously,
Correct.
It was for Sam.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I guess nodding heads is not good for podcasts.
No, my chuckle was it.
Yeah. All right, well, Andrew, if you'll lead bat, please.
Eller Coltrane is awful.
What?
Mercer.
Oh.
Mercer. Oh, yeah?
Oh, is that his...
He's awful.
Was that John Connor?
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some bad
awful.
casting.
Terrible actor.
He's not... No, he wasn't John Connor. Or was he? I don't know. He's only done 4 things.
And there's a reason.
Yeah.
He wasn't...
Bill Paxton's dead.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Glenn Headley's dead.
I actually, Bill Paxton was one of the better parts in this movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. I feel like
He's not dead. She is dead.
Yeah, the actor died. He died this year.
Yeah.
Or last year.
Yeah, brah.
Sorry. The movie itself, I don't know. I felt like it was kind of, the dialogue was a little
Clunky.
blah, and the characters were kind of one-dimensional, and I don't know. I felt like this was an attack on Apple that many high school students have written about before in their essays on how social media is changing the world.
Well, it wouldn't even be Apple, right? It would be like Facebook and Twitter
Or Google or something.
Google, yeah.
But I don't know. The movie didn't really go anywhere for me, and I like to be surprised in movies, and nothing really took me by surprise here.
In fact, I would say the only thing that surprised me was that nothing surprised me.
Yeah, maybe that's a good way to put it.
I mean,
I will say the ending of the movie, which we started to talk about before we started recording tonight, did surprise me a little because I didn't expect it not to end.
right.
I mean,
Or not some sort of resolution after the big reveal.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost felt like we had an issue, and now the issue is brought to light. But in order to solve the issue, we're not going to do anything about it. We're just going to keep living the life that we lived before.
I use the explanation. I watched this with my wife, and she and I both were just kind of confused and bewildered by the ending of this movie. And I explained it as, it's like if when we watched The Magnificent Seven. Actually, I think I said this to you, Sam. Before we realized you'd watched the wrong movie, it's like watching The Magnificent Seven when the bad guy pulls out the Gatling gun. He starts spinning it. It starts shooting the bullets. We fade to black, and then the screen opens back up with the three heroes who survived riding off in the sunset with no resolution. Like, are the other guys dead? What happened to the bad guy? Like, we don't know. Like, that's literally, in my opinion, what happened in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I felt like it was kind of a waste of some really good actors. And I think this is the first time that I've really heard Tom Hanks swear this much in a movie.
I know, right?
That was weird, wasn't it?
First time I've ever heard him drop the F-bomb.
I think I just see him as Woody all the time. And when I hear his voice say, 4-letter words, I'm kind of taking.
There's a snake in my boot.
There's an effing snake in my boot. I mean, even when in Saving Private Ryan, which is hard R, he never swears.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Did he swear in some of those old?
I mean, most of his old
was
movies
Turner
though
and
were
Hooch PG-13 or anything, or
well, I mean,
Keep
most of those
butt-loving.
movies were before PG-13 existed. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like Turner and Hooch was like 84, 85. I know PG-13 came about in 84 or 85 time, but I mean, like Big, it's a kids movie. I mean, so was Turner and Hooch. Joe versus the Volcano. Like where would he be sweary? Sweary McSwear. Not Blues Brothers. Dragnet. Like, I honestly think this is the first time he's dropped an F-bomb on the camera. I mean, maybe not, but that's the first time I've seen it.
I appreciate him as an actor. I think he's one of the greatest actors in Hollywood today. But for this one, I don't know. I
thought he was wasted.
Yeah,
I don't mean he was drunk. I
agree.
mean he was wasted.
And I like Emma Watson, but I didn't like her in this role. And I just kind of found her annoying. And I found her friend, redhead British Irish lady. What's her name?
Her real name. She's in the new Jungle Book movie. Karen Gillian.
Yeah, Karen Gillian. Yeah, I don't know. I found her character extremely annoying, and maybe because I know people like that, and I want to strangle them and say, hey, quit working your life away and enjoy what you're doing. I don't know. Anyway, that's where I am on it.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
You look like you're going to say something else and then you stopped. Okay.
Well, I had a thought and then that left me because I got distracted by my dishwasher again.
Oh, okay. All right, Corny, what you got?
For me, the movie was kind of interesting. Listening to Emma Watson not with a British accent was
a little weird, isn't it?
But also in the first 5 minutes of the movie, one of the words does slip out very British. But outside of that, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, Dude McMercer is
he's so bad. He's a bad
was the worst of the actors in this thing, including the creepy people. Just like, hey, you don't have a your social network thing. Outside of that, the movie did not end the way that I thought it should. John Boyega never used a lightsaber. I was really disappointed about that.
Talk about a wasted character, also.
Hermione never used a spell. And Tom Hanks was an old man and never a kid who grew up too soon. So this whole movie was just a whole bunch of letdowns.
Tom Hanks is like the other guy at the toy factory in the movie Big. He's playing that part.
Yeah.
Like the stuffy, I'm too old, corporate guy, whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Although I've always imagined that I would dress like that if I were the CEO of a company.
Okay.
Or the Steve Jobs.
Well, sure, why not? Wear jeans and...
Actually, I've realized I just wear pajama pants. I'd show up looking like a bum every day. Like, hey, guys, what's up? I did some this weekend. We all get raises. Yay, I'm going to bed.
I'm going to bed. Sweet. Best boss ever. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
But no, other than that, it was just kind of blah. I would not watch this movie again. Not because I don't want to. It's just not. There's really nothing to it. I think they had a very, very interesting concept that never got played out the right way. Although with Amazon, you get the little blurbs. Mm-hmm. I read the ending and I thought, oh damn, that would have been better.
Yeah, the original ending from the book is way different. And I don't know if it would have been worse or it would have actually. It probably would have been better.
Yeah, Boyega's character is wasted without the ending.
Yeah.
Like when they spoiler alert because we're into the 3-year thing.
Do you really even need him in this movie?
You don't need him in this movie.
No.
I think it's a lot of money for that character to be in this movie for no reason.
Right.
Then again, you had a really A-list group there and a very blah movie.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like you've got Tom Hanks. I mean, Patton Oswalt. I mean, he's in this to be. He's the nerd, right? He's probably of the pair. He's the guy who's actually the nerd that's figuring the things out, and Tom Hanks is the dreamer.
He's the Steve. Was it Wozniak?
Wozniak, yeah.
Wozniak to the Steve Jobs, yeah.
Right. And then Boyega is a social network guy. He's freaking Facebook.
Mark
Zuckerberg, basically, right? So if you haven't watched the movie, The Circle, which is the name of the company that owns. Basically, imagine Google owning Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Snapchat,
Bank of America.
I guess I don't know. I don't know how much infrastructure.
And apparently, a lot in research and medical things. Because
they also have their own medical facilities. I mean, like they're doing their own medical research. I mean, and it's also a tech research company. So like all that plus, I guess, kind of Apple. Too.
With the coolness of Apple.
Yeah, they were like OCP and RoboCop.
Yeah, actually, that's actually good. Yeah. Are you down with OCP?
Yeah, you know me.
So like, obviously this is a very much a fantasy because that would never, it could never happen.
Look at Amazon. I don't know, man.
I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah, and Amazon, right? I guess Amazon bought all of those things I just said. Basically, is what it comes down to. And Jeff Bezos is the Tom Hanks character, and like, So anyway, I just want to paint that picture before we keep going. I want people to really understand that this company controls so much of your life in this world, and we're all cool with it. Is where I'm eventually going to go with. Corny, were you anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, Sam, what say you?
All right. Well, once I found the real movie we were supposed to watch, it's quite a different movie, by the way. I'm gonna probably be the outcast of this podcast for this one because I somewhat enjoyed this movie. It absolutely has faults, but it kept my attention the entire time. Did it fall flat on the end? To a certain extent, yes. But I think what we had here is a potential for an amazing story to be told. We had some amazing characters that could have been very interesting, very dynamic, and it was just blah, like you guys were mentioning. It was directed in such a way that it was, I don't know, it just was not dynamic. I thought Tom Hanks did very well as the charismatic leader of this organization. But in terms of how this movie played out, I really enjoyed the ratcheting of, of what this company was doing and how it was doing it. It starts out as basically, your social network, and starts to end up being, integral into people's lives. And when you think about it, at the very basics of it, it's kind of an interesting idea in terms of, would I like an app to tell me when I'm about to have a heart attack? Sure. Would I like an app to show me that my blood pressure is spiking or my blood sugar levels are low, and not have to worry about it? Yeah, sure. Would I like to be able to go anywhere in the world and view a video of a beach or a mountain or a hike? That would be interesting, but it's what you give up to have access to those types of things. And that's what this, it's a moral lesson is what this movie's showing you in terms of how much are we willing to give up for our own privacy. And are we as a society willing to average that all out? You've got someone who's the antler guy, Mercer, right? Who tried to go flying with his truck. He was a bad actor. I got to give you that. But someone who's completely off grid, as much as he could be. And then you've got a little what's her name? Sarah Jessica Parker.
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson. Thank you. Where she she basically keeps tacking on more and more things to dive into her personal life, to the effect of, what was it, 3 minutes in the bathroom she was allowed privacy?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And
you kidding me? I've barely got my pants undone by 3 minutes, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah. And it's spooky when you watch it. And I think I mentioned, I might have even sent off a text at some point where the two people walked up to her at her desk and start getting on to her about how it's voluntary to do this social thing. But it's almost basically telling her she won't get anywhere unless she is. Did anybody get that feeling from them? It was like a threat.
I got a much more serious, aggressive version of, you don't have enough pieces of flair on your vest.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
And, yeah.
And I see why Emma Watson's character made some of these decisions. And I even see, Opie, you mentioned, when she talks about the voting and registering to vote and having everybody mandatory to vote, which is very a communist idea, by the way.
Yeah. When she because she mentions like 8 countries do this all the right. Yeah, they're all dictators.
Yeah, they're all dictatorships, and they all it's mandatory, but it's also mandatory who you vote for. But I think she was backed into a corner in that in that case. And I see why she did it. And how was I going to say this? I enjoyed it getting more and more and more crazy. And I don't think the company was being necessarily evil in terms of getting into these personal the personal space of people and getting into privacy rights and things like that. I don't think the company thought it was evil until you finally had the two guys there on stage realize that they were going to get all their dirty laundry aired just like everybody else. So it was fascinating to me on the business sense, and a lot of business ethics are shown in this movie in terms of what to do. And it might actually, I might actually have to show this in some of my classes because of that. But it was fascinating. I thought it was fascinating. Did I think it was a great movie? No. Did I think it was interesting? Sure. Would I watch it again? Not personally. Right. But I think it's a good lesson on how much we're willing to give up versus what we get out of it. How about you, Sean?
Okay. As you talk, I'm always trying to take mental notes on things that I want to kind of respond to specifically. To Andrew's point, I actually thought you said you found that the friend annoying. I thought she was the most compelling person in the movie because, in my opinion, she's the audience. She's the only one in the company that kind of sees for what it is eventually. Maybe we're also supposed to sympathize with John Boyega to a point too. I actually found her compelling, and I actually really liked her. I really dug her accent. Anyway.
Well, the problem is she didn't come to that conclusion until she took drugs.
Right.
So...
But here's the weird part about that is the drug part. Was there a line in there that I missed? Because after Mercer dies, spoiler. After Mercer dies, they're having this heart to heart, and she's like, "You okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm home. I've decided I'm all I was doing was coke and Soylent." And I'm like, "Wait, did I miss the part where she was on drugs?"
Well, what I got out of that is she was so overworked.
No, I understand that she was, but she literally said
she had to take that, right?
Yeah, to kind of uppers just to keep her going.
Yeah.
No, I understand the why. I just missed that she did it. I was because the last time we saw her, she's fine, and then the next scene, she's in the bathroom looking like shit, and they're like, "How are you?" She's like, I work all the time. I'm getting ready to go. Blah. It was rough. And then the next thing we see her, she's in sweatpants in the meeting about the vote, and then we don't see her again until after, where she's kind of gone to rehab or whatever. And it's like, wait a minute, have we missed something with her? I felt like there was. I mean, honestly, we usually complain about movies being too long. I could have stood 25 more minutes of in-depth character development on her. I wanted more of Tom Hanks, and I wanted more of John Boyega. Because
you know what I think would have been a perfect storm for this movie? If you would have gotten Aaron Sorkin to write it.
Sure.
I think this would have been right up his alley.
You could have put, 25% more dialogue in the film you already had.
Yep.
And I like Tom Hanks as the charismatic. He was great in that part. He was really great. Yeah. And the movie paints him as, here's the facade, but there's something in the back that we don't know what it is. But then we never get that payoff.
And like I said, it never looked like the company was doing evil things. It's just...
On the surface, you're like, wait a minute, you want to force people to vote? Well, we already have to do things we don't want to do, like pay taxes. Okay, that's different. That's very different. We're talking about changing, and all of a sudden now there's a senator here who wants to support these things and have transparency. What? You're going to have a sitting senator that's going to be total transparency? I hope she's not on any kind of defense committee or any, you know what I'm saying? Well, here's an email I'm going to send to this general approving the missile strike on blah, blah, blah. Oh, we just sent that to the Taliban or whoever, right? Okay, they're going to go hide now, right? So I certainly think that while I do believe that the government has too much secrecy, I feel like there's a certain acceptable level of that. And I also feel as an individual, that we all have things that we need to be kept private. And there's a line in the movie, and I capped it, where she talks about, and I'll even play it here real quick. Where is this?
I said that secrets are lies.
No. Secrets are lies to your spouse, and only in an act of omission, right? Like, did you do the dishes today? Or whatever, right? Like, did you have an affair? I did the dishes, like things like that, right? Like, that's a lie from omission. That's different than secrets. People need secrets. We need our things, right? So that's an interesting part of the movie, really interesting part of the movie, that this idea that, and they do talk about a thing in this movie that's true. We all behave differently when there's a camera on us, when people are able to watch us, right?
Just like I do when we do our podcast. I know you guys can see me, so I'm not completely naked.
Sure. Or a better example, and non-creepy.
Are we supposed to not be naked?
You're not supposed to. Clothing has always been optional on this show. Is look at YouTube comments. YouTube comments are the dregs of society. like Corny, I don't know. Have you put any of your band's videos on YouTube? You just muted yourself.
I do, but I don't let comments I don't make them available.
You don't make them available? Okay.
Okay.
People are evil.
Right.
They really are.
Right. Like, you're doing good work with your band. You have a band. You have several, but I think kind of your main love is your 3-piece jazz band, which is a good band. Of course, I'm super biased because I've run sound for you, but you're a good band. And if you put that on YouTube, 60% is going to be good, 20% is going to be and then the other 20% is going to be the dregs of society. And it's because there's no consequence, right? Like, that's what we've had.
Yeah, someone's going to call me the N-bomb or something,
Right, yeah, look at that N-bomb playing drums. Of course, he's the guy who has to play drums because, all those stereotypes. You're going to see that but they would never say that to your face, right? Because they're safe behind their computers. So the idea that this movie presents is that, well, if there's a camera pointed at everyone, then we'll all be nicer and we'll eliminate crime and all of those things. And it's like,
but see, that is the thing behind the
want
movie.
ants? This is how you get ants.
In terms of what are you willing to give up for your own privacy? Are you willing to have crime? Are you willing to, so that you can, I don't know, run around in your backyard naked? It's just I don't know. It's just an interesting thought. It's the same idea. Communism in theory is interesting.
On paper.
And what's that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Easy there.
Communism in theory is interesting in terms of everybody's equal, everybody gets paid the same, nobody's hungry, nobody's out of work, everybody works to this common goal. But when you add the human element to it, it completely falls apart. There's no way communism can work. And it's kind of the same idea in this movie, where certainly the idea that there's not going to be any crime, there's not going to be no stealing kayaks, no one's going to take a loaf of bread or whatever. But are you willing to accidentally show your parents doing what they were doing
with a penis pump?
By mistake?
Yeah. But to a point, Sam, we already have that now, right? I mean, like, you can't walk down New York City and not have 12 cameras pointed at you from security buildings.
Mm-hmm.
What the difference in this movie is making the assumption is that someone's always watching a screen. Is what we're saying. And again, we're already always under surveillance, to the point that a lot of people that I know put little sticky notes or tape over the cameras on their computers because they're afraid that someone might hack into it and activate it while they're in their office doing just legitimate office things, let alone non-legitimate office things.
I as a tech guy, I find that very, very it's just weird. like
who would want to see me?
Okay, here's the thing.
Work.
You can't activate those cameras without the light coming on, so you just can't.
Right, but I mean,
the light doesn't work.
But you and the three of us are tech savvy enough to know that. My dad would not be. I mean, I don't think Dad sometimes listens to the show. I don't think he is, but honestly, my dad wouldn't be. Now, again, my dad's 71 years old. I mean, what are they going to see? They're going to see him piddling around the house with a dog and a Roomba. So, I mean, there's no advantage there. He's practicing his curling with the Roomba.
Nice.
But, yeah, thank you. But there's probably some
But
government agency that has some 65-year-old grandma sitting in the office with legitimate secrets that need to be kept, and all of a sudden her camera pops up and she doesn't know. I guess that's the point of why people sometimes put tape on the thing. That wasn't. I'm sorry, I'm getting into a different place. My point is with this movie is this. One, the movie I think sucks. Outright sucks as a movie, and it fails as a movie because it kept me interested and entertained. Yes, it kept me interested, but I kept yelling at the movie, and like my wife and I are like literally arguing with the movie because I'm like, no, you wouldn't do that. And so, I don't know. And now my wife and I had an interesting discussion. And Sam, you agreed with her, which is really actually not unheard
Weird.
of. No, actually, it's against me. So the fact that the two of you are, going against me is it's actually pretty normal.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And I said that I thought it was weird that she being Emma Watson, goes from she's new to the company and these two aggressive millennials come up and they're like, oh, we noticed that you didn't come to any of the events here and your dad has MS and all like this super personal, aggressive, passive aggressive, whatever. And then within movie seconds, I mean, again, it was probably a couple of days, she is all in, right? I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, the hipster cool, avocado toast eating Kool-Aid, right? And she's just all in. And I thought that ascension went too quickly. I thought the movie was going to be her struggling to fit in with the weirdness of this movie and then come to a point where she realizes that what is actually, there's something seedy happening. And maybe that's what I wanted the movie to be, and that's my own problem. That they wanted.
I'm with you though. I felt like that's what I was wanting, but when you said it went too quickly, that's exactly what I thought. It's like I felt like she was kind of against it almost at first and resenting it, and then all of a sudden she's COO.
And see, I think that's where the movie failed to show you that the reason she was starting to buy in is because she was in so deep she couldn't get out.
Well,
like the family health care, helping her father. She got caught.
And here's
different kinds of things that
here's
kept getting her further and further down the rabbit hole.
And here's Sarah's point of view, and this is the point of view from a young woman, as Sarah is. I'm going to call her young, in that my wife says that she probably felt obligated to because she had a job. She had a well-paying job that, like you said, Sam, is taking care of her folks. And she probably just felt obligated to keep it for the benefit of her friends and family and her parents, And so she's like, you know what, I'll just do whatever I can. But then, to your point, Sam, at what cost? Just like the cost of everything in this movie, there's a cost, and the cost was her family. I get to take care of you, but I never get to see you.
Yeah.
But and continuing with Andrew's thought, not only did she keep going, she kept going after John Boyega confided in her who he was, and then showed her the creepy, right? Like, pretty soon this is going to be full of terabytes and terabytes of data that they're going to store on you, right? Here's the bad. Here's the creepy. Here's the too many secrets. And she just brushes it off like, whatever. I liked you in Star Wars. I'm just going to move on. Like, so, and as I'm literally hearing myself talk, I realize I'm those other guys in the last talking about The Last Jedi, is that I had an expectation of what the movie should be, and the movie didn't get to that point, so I'm mad at the movie. And and that's my own issue, and I know that. But damn it, my version of the movie would have been better.
Yeah, I mean, none of us are Hollywood directors. None of us go out there and do that type of thing. Is it unfair to expect every movie to be good, to be well directed, well written?
And it's also, but it's also
I
based
don't think that's unreasonable at all.
I don't think that's unreasonable either. But it's also based on a book, so there's going off source material. So then my response is, well, that's not a very good book. But and we'll talk later about what the actual ending was, because Corny mentioned earlier that there was a different ending, and I'll that's part of my trivia, what the original ending was. Stupid effing book, yeah. Oh, I don't know if I have that. Sorry, I missed an opportunity. Sorry. So anyway, I think we've kind of smacked on the face of this movie, though, that one, we all kind of hated the ending.
Yeah. Now, what I took away from the ending is that obviously she had won.
Won what?
Against the owners, right?
Won what?
And that what?
What did she win?
Freedom.
Okay. Freedom to still be monitored on a drone surveillance camera at all times?
I don't know.
I mean, that's how the movie ends.
I think what that was showing was that I think it was basically a coup, and she staged a coup, and now whoever was in charge of this company would also be monitored like her, which meant they had to be honest and good.
So is that okay? I had not thought of that. That's interesting. So you're because again, we don't know is the problem. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
There's no answer. Yeah. So you're making an assumption, which we all would have to, that okay, the company now is going to be above board from now on. That they're going to do for the good of the country and the people and the individual till death do us part. And and what I wanted, because again, this is the type of movie I'm used to, and I think Andrew was going there with me also, and maybe tell me if I'm wrong. Is that because we're used to movies with bad guys, right? We're used to that.
Yeah.
So what I wanted was, because they mentioned, they hinted earlier when they were like, you don't think that senator getting investigated by an anonymous tip was anonymous? That was them kicking that person out of Congress so that they can put their own person in. Like, they mentioned that in the movie.
Yeah.
So I wanted more of that. I wanted, the emails. Oh, we're so effed. Oh, well, these emails are now coming out that this company has spent the last 15 years buying senators and subverting Congress to make the appropriate people to become, because they mentioned like 22 states or something like that are on board with using them as the company for voting. So that had to have been some type of manipulation, right? You hinted.
Yeah, and you get that. You get a hint there's something going on behind the scenes.
Right. So I wanted more of that. So, at the ending, even if it's just writing on the screen, the Tom Hanks and what's his name were arrested under the federal FCC laws and blah 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 blah. Emma Watson is now the boss, and or something. Like, I need resolution to a point, right? Like, again, people are saying, well, gosh, you don't get resolution at the end of Inception. I'm okay with that. It doesn't matter whether the top stops or not. Dom, in his mind, is with his kids. It doesn't matter if it's real or not. To me, he's with his kids. So, and I don't care that we never find out what's in the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. Like, I don't care. It doesn't, I'm saying, like, we still have resolution from the other parts of the movie. This movie, you know how they complain that Return of the King had like 4 endings? Like, this one didn't have one, is in my opinion, is the problem. Like, could they have borrowed one from Lord of the Rings? So, anyway.
Yeah, this would have been good if they were pulling away, where it was showing Emma Watson in the kayak with all the drones around her, and like in a separate screen you see CNN, even just a short blurb about. I can't remember Tom Hanks' character's name.
I can't remember either. I can't remember any of the names.
But if it had mentioned, so and so was arrested today on federal
racketeering charges or blah blah blah. Yeah.
voter fraud, or something like that. I think that would have been a little bit more palatable than what we saw.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I do. It's just, I guess I just interpret the ending just a little bit more concrete than you did.
Yeah, and I think probably even more of a source of optimism than I did too.
Yeah.
Andrew Corney,
I've been in a good mood today, so that's probably
good.
why too.
Yeah. I feel like I've dominated this more than I needed to or intended to because I've for whatever reason I'm feeling very passionate about this movie, and I don't know why. You guys, please add something else to this discussion.
Corny? Andrew? I feel like I've been talking this whole time too.
Sorry, I'm just listening to yourself. No, I mean, I agree with. I mean, the movie just had too many options for good storyline, and chose none of them. Mm-hmm. I guess the comment on the idea of you want more background on the Annie character, I actually don't. I think for me, the way this movie's set up, that makes perfect sense. We kind of see her downfall, and then she's better because she left. Mm-hmm. To me, that's a sign that
it's like
yeah. I mean, even make the Kool-Aid joke, which although I wish they hadn't made the Kool-Aid joke to the black guy.
Yeah,
seemed a little racist. Not entirely certain. Felt that way. But the idea, yeah, I mean, definitely is like a cult. And
oh, you there?
I'm looking and go, you can get the hell out of my office.
Oh, your internet pooped out. All I heard was cult.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, whoops. I heard it.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I think our connection has been pretty bad tonight between you and I, Sean.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a little bit in and out on my end too. Yeah.
Right. So no, but I guess in the great scheme of things, I think I would have preferred it zooms out and her kayaking is being recorded and being streamed in her office, or it zooms out and we see that she's now the COO,
mm-hmm.
Whatever, something like that. But I took that she is, or that her and some other people are, although she should have gone to jail for negligence.
Well,
because she killed Mercer.
Well, I mean, and that's another part. I mean, again, sorry, I'm not trying to take over your point.
Oh, you're good.
No, but please keep going. But one of my frustrations is that there was no consequence for Mercer's death.
Mm-hmm.
None. A man died because
of this program that
right,
and the people. I mean, really, the people that basically were driving the drone should have been charged.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, I do know for a fact I wonder if they were FAA cleared, because you have to have that clearance to fly those things in most areas.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a licensed, registered thing.
At least.
So like Mercer's family should sue the Circle for billions of dollars.
I actually expected to see that in the movie.
Right.
It never happened.
Like when she's like, we should set up a fund for Mercer. That's a good idea. Consider it done. How about they meet and he says, by the way, Mercer's family's suing us and we're going to cut him a check for $38 billion. What do you think? Like that would be what normally would happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, mm-hmm. Because we've seen currently moments on Facebook where horrible things have happened on Facebook streaming. There have been 2 deaths on mm-hmm. Facebook that I'm aware of. Might be more, but I know of 2. But but Facebook did not actively participate in
or promote the idea of filming it.
Right.
Sorry, I'm still fighting a cold. Not still. I'm now fighting a cold. Though it does feel like still. Anyway, Facebook. It's not like Facebook sent people to a person's house with cameras to harass somebody. So anyway,
although if Mark Zuckerberg did that, I might have more respect for him.
Do what? I'm sorry. If Mark Zuckerberg did that?
Yeah, if he did that, I might have more respect for him.
That's fair. So I totally jumped on you, Corny, but you mentioned Mercer's death, and I had to make sure that, again, that was a thing that really made me upset about this movie.
Yeah, personally, I kind of wanted the scene to go a different way. That they show up on Mercer's property and tells him to leave, and then what you hear is the chambering of some shotgun shells.
I kind of thought that was going to happen too.
And then a couple of random shotgun blasts and screaming. But that's what I wanted.
That's what would have happened had they filmed in North Carolina.
Man.
Yeah.
Very true.
Or South
Yeah,
Carolina.
you just don't go running up on somebody's property in North Carolina.
Georgia.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
Texas.
Can I ask you guys a question? The John Boyega character.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever confirmation in any other place in the movie, maybe I missed it, that he really is who he says he is? He's really this type.
Yes.
Other than just saying that?
No, okay, so I took the confirmation when she gives him a call, and then they confirmed that he took the way out where he could just live normally.
I took the confirmation as she's like, I called Ty, and he helped me unveil their emails, and here's the evidence. So only someone that built the system that they were using to protect themselves would be able to hack in.
That's true.
That's
because in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, what if he's not really this guy? What if he's just a hacker that works for the company?
Yeah.
Does he take a piece of aluminum foil, blow into a phone, and
you now have a free long distance for life? Oh, DJ Qualls. That's one thing I'm kind of glad about this movie. Really, the only quote-unquote bad tech in the movie are their cameras. Like, that's Star Trek level video processing to a satellite. No battery backup. Like, what? No, that's not a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we have an HD camera. Like, even the smallest cameras that are, like those action cameras and GoPros are still the size of a credit card. And those are the small ones. And
Hardison gets real mad because no one knows what he does.
Do what?
And Hardison gets real mad because no one knows what he does.
Right, yeah. So, anyway. But, I mean, fine.
You guys don't know what I do.
Do you guys even know what I do? You stay in a van. Try not to stay in the van. What was the name of the van? I forgot.
Lucille.
That's right. All right. Anyway. That's our Leverage reference for the night.
I was wondering where that was going. I was like, what?
Leverage. Is it? I think it's about time, Corny, I rewatch Leverage.
Oh, God, yes.
I feel like about once every 18 months I have to rewatch Leverage. I'm trying to think if I've rewatched it since Daphne was born, my daughter. She's 19 months old now. So
well, if you hadn't, you're a bad father.
Well, you're right. I will say this. Tangent incoming. I finished. So Star Wars Rebels ended this week. The season.
Thank God.
The series finale was this week, and that show was great. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's really good. And I'm actually sad that they only did 4 seasons. And I wonder why. But season 4, because season 4 came out after Rogue One, they drop a lot of references to what would be Rogue One. Because the main plot line of season 3 and 4 is the new TIE Defender spaceship. And director Krennic is doing his own thing, and the Emperor wants to invest in him, and so there's a lot of references to Krennic and the they don't call it the Death Star, they refer to it as Stardust, which if you watch the movie you know what that means. So anyway, Rebels was great. The series finale was great too. And Ahsoka Tano reemerges. I got a spoiler. Anyway, yeah, okay. Anybody else? Anything else before I'm going to cruise through some notes? You guys want anything to add? Anything? Please, by all means.
The Death Star? The Death Star here? I run the Death Star.
I'm your boss, Mr. Stevens. Oh, not Mr.
Oh, you Mr. Stevens.
Who's Mr. Who is Mr. Stevens? He's head of catering. Sorry, there's our Eddie Izzard reference for the night. Real quick notes I wrote, like, I had no idea Finn was in this. 2 nerd franchises crashing from Harry Potter and Star Wars. Sarah asked that people kept coming up to her saying, "Hey, Guppy, And Sarah said, ooh, because she ingested that chip, which she didn't know she was doing, by the way. Sam, where does that lie on your business ethics meter?
Yeah, that would be in the red category, I
Right?
would guess.
Like
red like communist or red.
Yeah,
illegal.
Red like, that's a no-no.
Like, that's illegal. I mean, unless and when she was hired, there's a piece of paper that she signed that says, we have the right to put chips in your body at any time that we deem necessary.
Well, you wouldn't
all right,
believe there are corporations out there right now that are asking employees to put chips in their skin.
But they're asking. That's the thing. They're asking them,
Yeah.
and they're all SFID, right? That's the right, Corny?
Yeah.
SFID?
RFID.
RFID, thank you.
RFID.
RFID chips, so that you can unlock a door with your hand without actually having to pull out a card, right?
By the way, just out of
Well, there's
out of
more
fairness,
to it than that, too.
Well, you can't hack it.
Well, out of fairness, if I had a document that said they're allowed to put chips in my body at any given time, I'm going to say yes, because that could be chocolate or potato.
Yeah, and you should write that on the contract. Chocolate, like put a little, above sign, chocolate/potato. I like this idea. Here's some chocolate chips, Corny. Oh, time for my daily chocolate chip accompaniment. Okay, fine. But yeah, I mean, Sam, you're right. There are companies that are doing this, but again, they are asking their employees to do this. And the CEO is like, I'm going to do it. It's totally above board. It's, again, only RFID. You can't store information above a certain small level. It's no different than the hang tag on your car that lets you in the parking deck. So it's not like you're putting your social security number on there, and someone can steal that, because you can't. So before we get too big brother on whatever that corporation is, but like they didn't ask her is my problem, is my big problem. They didn't ask her. And like she should have been furious. I would have been puking. I would have been like sticking my finger down my throat to make myself puke. Like, get my lawyer. I'm suing you. I don't know. Maybe I'm too whatever. All right. I also wrote this. I wrote this entire interaction is super annoying, which I'm referring to the whole. Oh, so we noticed you didn't come to any. Like, oh, I hated everything about that. It just.
Yes. It was so awkward.
I hated that.
So how about I got in trouble at my actual job, my previous position, because of a very similar thing. Hey, we noticed that you aren't participating in these things that are totally voluntary. Yeah, I don't want to do them. Play a lot of music, usually gone. Sorry, just didn't want to go. We'd all feel a lot better if you participated. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, it's fine.
I mean,
Dude.
I'm not here to make you feel better. I'm here to do a job. So
I know, right?
I don't know. I just that.
Well, I'm here to make you feel better.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You do, Courtney. Every night.
I don't know what that means, but it's illegal in most
Oh
states.
no, you do. With the pics you send me, Courtney, you make me feel better. You really do. This is getting intimate. So here's another little thing, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Maybe you are, maybe not. If you've ever noticed when you're watching like a video on YouTube or whatever, and you see people in the background walking around, sometimes the people are blurred out, and sometimes they're not. Mm-hmm. And that's because certain states have a law that allows a single party or a dual party participation. Meaning, North Carolina, where we live, well, I don't live there, but where we live, is a single party participation. Meaning, Sam can take a video camera and go out and film anyone he wants. Doesn't matter. Within the realm of the law, I mean, you can't go into women's bathrooms and things like that, but you can film.
Oh no, really?
Anywhere you want, right? Because you are aware that you are recording, right? You are the single party, right? Meaning that you can't take a video recorder and then put it in a tree and then leave, because then that's, you know what I'm saying?
Creepy.
Like, well, it's not just creepy, but that's the invasion. Again, there's a gray area, obviously, with like deer cameras and things like that, which again, single party, whatever. But in some states like California, New York, maybe, I don't know. I know California's one, and there's some other states. They are dual party, which means I have to get your permission to film you. So if you ever see a video of like people whose faces are grayed out, they did not get their permission to film them. My point is, if you put a little bitty camera all over the world, it's in some states that's illegal. You can't legally do that without permission. So once again, unless the Circle paid some Congress people to change the state's law,
Right.
which would have been
And
cool
that's what it's sounding like.
Right. But again, we're having to make those assumptions on behalf of the movie, which maybe is in the book. Maybe that's all in the book. Maybe. Oops, first time real privacy was invaded. That was the mom and dad sex part. Automatically registers you to vote seems scary, and now she wants people to be required to vote. That made me really uncomfortable. Here's the only other tech part I also found a little hinky. And Corny's going to go with me on this one, I know it. A global face recognition software that can do it in seconds. Global. Like, our CIA can't do that now. Like, you know, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Anyway, it's fine.
Yeah. There are several things that are wrong with that concept. First of all, GPS wise or satellite wise, you're not gonna get that information that clearly over that many places. Number two, I work in enough places that my Wi-Fi connected device, because that's what it's going to be, is not going to work in the pit of a warehouse. It's just not. So I could go on and on with the list of things that aren't going to work in the situation. But no, I'm not watching. And then facial recognition, I mean, that's first of all, it's not even great.
Right.
If a girl changes her hair or maybe her eye color, that completely becomes useless.
Like, we're only now getting to the point where, like, our iPhones and the new Samsung phones where you can unlock with your face. We're finally getting to that point, and that's on a super micro scale.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Even that's not accurate. You know, I have the new iPhone 10, and if I wear my glasses instead of wearing my contacts, I have to put in my passcode.
Really?
Yeah, because they're such thick.
But I thought it was supposed to be, be able to see through that stuff.
Well, it's supposed to adapt with certainly facial hair and hair change and stuff. But I mean,
that's the thing. But it's facial recognition. Facial recognition is done by several phases, and one of those is just shape or the shape of the face.
And you're changing.
And glasses alter the face, like they alter the shape.
But if you look at voice recognition, though, back in the early 2000s, I remember thinking how great it would be by speaking it. Yeah, I bought like $100 package it was like Dragon Dictation or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And it was the worst ever. it was horrible. And now
we're 2018, and Siri still gets it wrong sometimes.
Yeah, but it's 100.
It's still better.
99% better than it was back then.
Yeah.
In the 10 years that have gone.
Yeah.
Past.
I mean, and I know we have there's a suspension of disbelief for this movie. I get it. Like, we're obviously in kind of a make believe land with some of the tech, and I get that. And again, my intro with Corny saying that there's a lot wrong with this movie, the tech not really being one of them, is really at no point did the tech really bring me out of the movie.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't like we were watching Hackers, or
I actually kind of liked the little bubbles popping up around.
Swordfish.
Or Swordfish. Yeah, exactly. Swordfish is my go-to for bad tech. No, the bubble part I thought was great.
Perfect for
that movie. If that movie streams,
what hacking's all about.
We are all over that movie. I can't wait to rip that one a new one. Plus, Halle Berry's naked. So anyway, so this is one note that I wrote. So in that same sentence where I wrote global recognition, facial recognition. Now you're asking people with phones to act on the behalf of the police. When someone dies, who's responsible? My next line was, I wrote that line before seeing Mercer die. So, which in this world, no one's responsible. People die. It's fine. I would like to have known.
I think it was kind of dumb, the whole deer killer thing with Mercer. I was like, really, people?
Yeah.
It just seemed to escalate a little too dramatically.
Yeah, well, whatever. And again, that's playing on a trope, right? Of he's a hunter, therefore he's a horrible human being. Like, no, we actually probably all of us. Well, we all know my father-in-law. He's a hunter, and he's not a horrible human being. So, like,
anybody that knows anything about deer, they shed those antlers on a yearly basis, so he doesn't have to kill animals to collect antlers.
Just walk in the woods for an hour, and you'll find some. As long as it's a populated area. I would like to have known the crowd reaction to his death when she screams and the camera goes to black, and then it's like 4 days later and she's home. I wanted to know how that scene ended. Did they go, oh, cut the camera, oh my gosh, we're so sorry? Did they hug her? Did they embrace her? Did they cut the feed? Did the audience go, oh my God, we're sorry? Like, someone in the room needs to be accountable.
He ain't gonna be in the circle too.
Oh, I was laughing but coughing at the same time, I promise. Yes. Yeah, even if Chris Tucker would have stood up in the middle of the audience and said that would have been... Anyway. I did right. She was on drugs. Did I miss that? I love Patton Oswalt's face when she calls him out. And then my last note was, so now what happens? So, anyway. And then the only other trope that I wrote was... learning the job montage. That's right. Answering phone calls.
A good tech montage because I will say the one good thing about this movie is I like the way they portrayed texting and messaging. Where you got the kind of the angle of their perspective with the texting, and you had the whole Tony Stark in the air set up there. I really enjoyed that.
What other movies did we see?
That looked really good.
Oh, it was. It also reminded me of the new Sherlock Holmes series. When he's texting, we see this. It's above him, beside him, as opposed to the camera looking at his phone, which I think is a way cleverer way of showing what he's writing than to either have him. I'm going to send you a text now. So.
Yeah. And I believe it was the Social Network that finally got that right.
Did they do that? I can't remember.
I believe they were the first to do that style of interpretation of what a text or an email would look like without having to zoom in on a screen.
I got really mad again tonight. I was listening to some different film scores while I was doing show prep, and that one came on. And I'm like, this freaking won the Oscar over How to Train Your Dragon. I know I need to let it go. That was 8 years ago, but
Never let go.
Never let go. Number one.
Never let go of that one.
This type of dialogue makes me want to piss blood. I just hate this.
That's so interesting you put it that way. We actually see your profile and the activity on it as integral to your participation here. This is how your coworkers, even the ones on the other side of campus, know who you are. Communication certainly isn't extracurricular, right?
Right. Of course.
We consider you a full, knowable person of unlimited potential.
But you've had a blip or two when it comes to meshing with the community, like your absence at several weekend or evening events, which are, of course, optional.
I'm sorry?
Let's start with this weekend. You left campus at 11:42 p.m. on Friday and got back 8:46 a.m. Monday.
I didn't mean for that to be that long. I hate every moment of that. It makes me uncomfortable, which it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But
I think the appropriate response to that is when she goes, and you got back at 8:46 on Monday. Well, you're effing welcome, lady.
Right. I came back. Anyway. I just, like, when he says phrases like, and again, I've been to a bunch of the sensitivity classes and how you're supposed to talk to people. Like, I've done those classes, and I've actually genuinely learned a lot from those. I really have. But saying things like you're a knowable person of unlimited potential, I hate that I hate that type of talk. I just do. All right, here we go. Here's some more privacy laws being violated.
So it's going to feel warm for a few days. Then you and the media band will get used to each other. But it has to touch the skin to work. Waterproof, no need to take it off. Let's activate it, shall we? Is that the... Well, it's syncing up with the sensor you ingested a second ago.
Excuse me?
What?
Right. Come again, Big Pudge.
I don't know what number 3 is. Transparency. I wrote transparency. I don't know what this means.
Starting today, my every meeting, my every phone call and email will be accessible to my constituents and to the world.
It's a bad idea, Senator. Really bad. Just saying.
Actually, you're supposed to. If you are a state employee or a politician, your every email, every phone conversation should be somehow accessible by constituents.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, as a teacher, every email that I ever send from my school account it's public record. Anybody can look at it.
Right. And I'm totally fine with all of that. And you're right. That's the way it is. It is how it is. That's why people got so pissed when Hillary had those personal data servers and those personal emails. You're like, you're not supposed to do that. That's why we do it on public stuff, so there's a level of transparency.
Yeah.
But there is also going to be some level of communication that she's going to have with people of power that we don't need to know about.
Yeah.
So, anyway. I already played that clip. This part will make your skin crawl.
And it seems we're on our way to users being able to register it and maybe actually vote through their Circle account.
Well, that's a small leap, but yes, okay, go on.
Why not require every voting age citizen to have a Circle account?
I don't like that at all. I really don't. This is the only joke in the entire movie. You ready? This is the only joke in the movie.
We have to pee indoors, not on the street.
We do have to pee indoors.
I mean, we have...
I don't want to. I'm a pee. You know what? As a matter of fact, I'm peeing in the room right now.
Well, you're still indoors. If you opened up the window and let it fly out there, then there you go.
All right, so sorry, I had to make a small tangent.
No, please.
It's for the good of the podcast.
By all means.
All right, so I sometimes make the joke that I'm so mad I'm just going to shit on the floor in response to things at work.
Sure. I get that.
Someone took that to heart and actually shit on the floor of 3 levels of bathrooms.
Oh, my God.
Last week.
Wait, you did?
No, not me. I never done something like that, but a student did apparently.
Oh, my gosh.
Good for them.
Shat on the floor.
That's awful.
Of a certain building on our campus.
Not good for them. Floors. That's awful. Did they catch them?
No, and I don't want them to. I want this shit Robin Hood to be free.
No, that's the worst.
Freedom.
That's awful. No, it's terrible. There are people that have to clean that. That's awful.
Yeah, but I want them.
I do feel bad. Yeah, I feel bad for the janitors. Poor janitors.
I was at the Walmart in Seneca, with my son, and he had to pee, and so we go into the men's bathroom as this teenager comes literally screaming the F word out, and then I walk in, and he has taken his shit and smeared it all over the stall and the floor and the toilet, to which my son's like, I'm not going in there to pee, Daddy. And I don't blame you. So when I walk out, we go to the stall, and he does this, to the urinal, and he does his thing, and then we leave, and as I walk out, a manager comes up to me and says, is everything all right? And I'm like, no. And I point out the kid, because he was still nearby. I guess he wanted to see the reaction to his artwork. And I said, that kid and those 3 are with him because they were all waiting for him to come out. He smeared poop all over the wall. You need to get him now and get him to clean this crap up. And they looked at me like, oh, and I said, as he's walking out, as he's literally walking out, and I said, he's 5'10", he's got a red hat, he's got a green jacket on, blue jeans, and they're with him. Go get him. And so they all, and whenever you're in a Walmart.
Citizens arrest! Citizens arrest!
And when you're in a Walmart, you never see anyone there to help you unless they're at the register. And even then, there's only like 3 people for 40 registers. All of a sudden, blue vests started appearing out of nowhere. I'm like, I didn't know they had this many employees. You never see them in the aisles helping people.
They're kind of like, Willy Wonka has the
Oompa Loompas just show up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
did they sing like a song about the moral values of smearing poop in the
Walmart, boopy doo doo. Right. I do not like the fact that you could.
Right? Like, so we go to the car. My son and I go to the car, and I get him buckled into the car. And as I'm sitting down in my seat, that kid has come out of the garden section. He has removed his jacket and hat because he heard me say his description. And he's walking towards my car, not towards me. He's leaving to go meet his buddies in another car. And I have about a 4 or 5 second moment of reflection of what do I do? Do I, A, get out of my car and try to stop him? Now, in that moment, but I have my son with me. So, A, that kid could take a swing at me, pull out a knife. I don't know what he has. B, I can't physically lay hands on him or he'll arrest me because he's probably, he can't arrest me, but I'll probably be arrested for harming a minor because he's probably like 15, right? So I can't lay hands on him. So literally all I can do is ask him to go back inside to clean up his mess. It's literally all I can do. And so in that 5 second moment.
You never live with a black woman.
That's true.
Actually, Sean, there is something of this whole thing that kind of, I don't know. I won't sleep tonight if I don't ask. And that is, did he wash his hands?
I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I guess he didn't smell like poop, but the whole bathroom smelled like it. So,
yeah.
I will say this is becoming a trend at our high school. It is a brand new facility, opened up this fall. And we came from a school that was 60 years old, and we thought, hey, people are going to really take care of this place. It's going to be nice. There's a kid that shits in the floor at least once a week. It happens in the locker room. It happens in the bathrooms. I think these teenagers today are just, I don't know what's wrong with them. Like when I was in high school, when we were in high school, that would have never been a thing.
Yeah.
There's no consequences, no severe consequences,
not anymore,
or consequences are ignored. I.e., I know in my household, my mom's big mama, her house, the phrase was, "Don't call me if you go to jail." That meant she was not coming for you.
Right.
You are now an inmate, and you are now ward of the state. But I've seen this way too often where I keep bringing up my former job a lot because apparently it plays into this movie way too much. But investigating a student for plagiarism and having found it out and then talking to the parent, and the parent's like, well, they're just a kid. And I was like, no, they're a teenager who should know not to plagiarize.
Right.
They're going to fail. Well, maybe we can just ignore this. I'm like, no. Any other college, they would be removed from the program. They can't just ignore this. But I mean, it's such an easy thing now. So, Mr. McShit the floor is just going to be like, oh, I didn't mean to. And then someone's going to let it go.
All right. Sorry, this old man grumpy tangent was brought to you by Metamucil. Anyway.
And Poultrygeist.
Here's my last clip. And I had to, because, I had to.
We're so
There you go. That's Tom Hanks. All right, here we go.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
We're getting a little long in this podcast, so I'm going to cook through this. And frankly, I only captured 3 bits of trivia because there wasn't a whole lot to capture. Reshoots took place 4 months before the release of the movie, which made Emma Watson's character seem more appealing. But test audiences' reaction was even worse than the previous screenings. When May is going transparent, Emma Watson, there are many messages from people all over the world in different languages. One of the messages is in Hebrew, which says, "What channel do I need to be on to see some sex?" Which I thought was kind of funny. They also, when she's going through her tour, the guy says, "Over there is the Quidditch game," which is, little Harry Potter moment there. Yeah.
Funny.
Again, I only got that from the trivia. I didn't hear that. And then the other one is, and this is what Corey and I both hinted at from the original ending. The ending was changed significantly for the film. In the original novel, May, fully believing in the Circle's goals and mantras, betrays Ty in his attempt to bring down the company, and he is effectively silenced. So there you go.
I don't know which
That's sad.
would hate works.
I mean, you would hate Emma Watson's character, but at least there would be a resolution.
I don't know if I would have enjoyed that movie better or not.
I think we would probably be arguing about, oh, what a horrible character. They should change it and do this thing. So I don't think, honestly, we would have been happy. Anyway, here we go.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
I finally fixed my my playlist here. Big Brother. We're doing movies where Big Brother is watching. Andrew.
All right. The Truman Show, number 3.
That's a good one.
Number 2. Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf.
That's a good movie. I like that movie.
I do too. Somebody
Cannibal?
borrowed it a few years ago, and I never got it back.
Shia
Eating off.
I let my aunt borrow that DVD, and she claims I never did. I mean, I haven't seen it since.
Yeah, you got to be wary about letting friends borrow DVDs.
Yeah, especially friends, because they'll keep it forever.
Oh yeah. And then one of my favorites that not a lot of people have seen is Gary Oldman and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
I need to watch that. I heard it's very British and very dry, but very good.
Yeah, it is all 3, but I like Gary Oldman and I like British, and I'm pretty dry. So.
Oscar winner Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to see that movie too.
For his portrayal of Sir Winston Churchill.
I wish your internet wasn't bad, because that would have been great. Or my internet was bad.
I'm Winston Churchill.
This is corny. Corny, you're up. You just muted yourself. You're still muted.
Sorry, I thought it was still going.
That's okay.
All right, so my number 3 is V for Vendetta.
Yep.
My number 2 is Minority Report.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And my number 1, which I'm glad I get to use this again, Enemy of the State.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Love that movie. Which was one of the ones we've done on that. We've done that movie. Sam.
Yes. Yeah.
I've always wanted to make a movie, an anti-vegan movie, and call it Enemy of the Steak.
Meat is
lettuce.
murder.
It's just lettuce.
Yeah. I'm with you. Sam.
All right. I've got my number 3 is a little movie called Gattaca.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Minority Report, and my number 1 is The Matrix.
Cool. Well, we've all said the ones that are in my list. So the only movie I will say that it was in my honorable mention, I guess my order was Matrix, V, and Enemy of the State, is The Net with Sandra Bullock, which is a terrible movie with awful tech. Awful.
That's why it wasn't on my list.
But I just put it on there because when it came out, I really liked it, but I was young enough to not... We didn't know what the internet was yet in 94. It was still kind of a weird, scary kind of place where you can order pizza online, but it's a terrible movie, and the tech is awful. So, if it's ever streaming, we're doing it for this show. So yeah.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
Out of 10, where would we rank this out of 10? From 1, or I guess 0, to 10. Andrew.
4.
Okay. I thought you said Thor for a second, but 4. Okay, I'm with you.
Oh, by the way, I just saw Ragnarok. Oh, what an awesome movie.
Right?
Isn't that the best? I love it.
Yeah.
I saw
it's
people...
so much fun.
I saw people on Twitter complaining that it was too much fun. They're like, this movie's too silly. You do realize Thor...
I'm sure there's a country song that says...
You hear the word Ragnarok, you think death and destruction.
Oh, I don't. But I don't. Cause that word doesn't have meaning to me.
I think of a great buddy film involving a big green frog.
It just sounds like a Greek dish.
Yeah.
Like I'll have.
You mean?
I'll have a gyro
You
with
mean
the side of
the
Ragnarok.
frog that is Thor?
Yes.
Throg?
Right.
Frog.
But I mean, like this.
Thing.
This was a
Yeah,
dude
it's
with that ran on a rainbow bridge, right? Like Thor would never. Anyways, fine. Corny. I loved the movie.
I'm actually going to go a little bit of the opposite way. It was a bland movie, but it had potential, and so I'm actually going to give it a 6 based on potential.
Okay. You're going off of like the NBA draft, like you're drafting on potential.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might get a Ben Simmons, or you might get a Cody Zeller.
Lonzo Ball.
That's what happened when my wife said she would marry me.
Yeah, she's going off of potential.
Nice.
How'd that work out?
Sorry to disappoint, dear.
It's going pretty well for him. He is
Nice.
boxing above his weight class. I'll just say that. Sam.
I'm kind of with a little bit of corny, where this movie kept my attention till the end, and I'll probably give it. Let's give it a 5.643 out of 10. Not the best. I don't want to watch it again, but if there's a chance I can use it for my business classes, it's got some.
There might be some excerpts there. I mean, like you could probably pull some stuff out there for your if you do a business ethics class.
Yeah.
Like ingesting chips without their knowledge and forcing people to participate in extracurricular activities or they'll lose their job. I'm with you guys on the potential. I'm with you on it kept my attention, but I panned it because it didn't do the things that we felt that it should have or could have. So with that being said, it only gets 4.5 points because of who was in it. It gets the benefit of the doubt because they got Tom Hanks. I mean, Tom Hanks is a star. He's an A-lister. Emma Watson is an A-lister because of Harry Potter, and John Boyega is getting there, right? Coming off of Star Wars, he did that cop movie in Detroit.
I actually just read an article about how he might be the next Blade.
Oh, that would be so good. Oh, I could totally see him being Blade. Okay, I'm totally in. That's going to be on like Netflix, right? Wouldn't that be a Netflix thing? 10-part series on Netflix? I don't know. Anyway, and tomorrow, by the time this is released, tonight, as you hear this, so, Jessica Jones comes out tomorrow. Season 2 of Jessica Jones comes out. So anyway, go watch it. Cool, that's it. That's our show. Sorry it's a little long, but frankly, we haven't had a show go past an hour and 15 minutes in a while. Yeah, actually, you're actually right, Corny. Next week we are doing Chappie. It's like I'm Alive #5 Short Circuit movie, but a little different. This was requested by a listener who did not want to participate in the 200th episode thing. He just said, I want you to do this movie. And I said, sure. Pretty sure it was listener Andrew, I think. Oh, crap. I hope I didn't just give credit to somebody else. Anyway, you know who you are. Chappie is our movie next week. And looking forward to that. I kind of wanted to see it when it came out. So it'll be interesting. And then the week after that, little teaser, we're doing Training Day. Mainly because Sam's never seen it. So we threw it on the list. So cool. That's it. That's our show. That's going to do it for us. So next week, Chappie. And again, thank you for all who participated in our 200th episode. That was a lot of fun. And hopefully we'll get to do something fun for 300, assuming we make it. Our website is cheapseatreviews.com. Check out our Anchor app. I posted a new Anchor post Monday, a couple days ago, about Dunkirk. So my little review of Dunkirk.
A Dun Spock and a Dunkirk.
You're not the only person that's made the Dunkirk is the movie when he finally retires. Are you okay, Kurt?
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. Oh, okay.
Nice.
Leave us a review, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, iHeartRadio. I think there's a way we can get on Spotify, I don't know.
Duncon!
I haven't done that one yet. Facebook.com/Cheapseat Reviews is, of course, our Facebook page. And on the Twitter at CheapSeatCast. You can, of course, send your emails to cheapseatreviews@gmail.com. Not that you will, but you could. I didn't mean to be as passive-aggressive as it came across. Just saying that you can. But anyway, that's fine. That's it. That's our show. I'm excited, and now I'm basically just vamping for time as the music plays me out. So, yeah. You guys doing all right? Everybody okay? We're good? I have about 5 more seconds.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Now the music's getting louder, so I'll just say on behalf of Andrew, Sam, Corny, and Chad, this is Sean saying thank you for listening, and good night.